That's hella weird. Hmm. Oh, that's Rio. I don't know. That's what it is. It's finicky as shit. And then of course there goes my camera. So there we go. This is why we can't have nice things. Hey everybody, it's finally Friday. It is my, I don't know. There we go. It is my, almost Friday till I go to vacation on Tuesday. So this may or may not be the last meeting that we have together before the holidays. So let me double check and see how bad the overlay is on the other side. Okay, cool. As promised, we're going to continue with our Proxmox fun. I saw a tutorial, several tutorials online about setting up Proxmox for your malware sandbox. And every one of them I found mentions the use of pfSense to run on your Proxmox instance, which adds a level of complexity that I was not aware of. And it's kind of unfortunate, really, because there we go. Okay, there we go. All right. So yeah, it's kind of unfortunate because let me double check and make sure everything's going. Am I live or oh okay, I am live. Cool. Yeah. So everything that I've seen, where is that? So oh, it must be on my other side. Okay. Sorry, I'm cleaning up a few things on my browser tab here. Oh, by the way, if you are interested, one of our regulars here, well, he's regular on our Twitch stream, which I haven't posted. I posted up like Tuesday's stream to Twitch, but it will be delayed a little bit. But if you are looking for music, independent music, there is one of our artists, Age of Music, has posted up some, Season of Giving with Milk and Cookies. So you can go and check out the stream there. Oh, I probably should transition that. Boink. There we go. You can go and check that out over here. And yeah, it's on Spotify. So you can check out the link there on Spotify. Actually, I can probably create a QR code. So if anybody wants to scan the QR code there you go, right there. I love that little QR code thing because it's great because you can just, somebody wants to scan their phone, boom, right there. And yeah, let me share out the link to the stream here. I'm actually finding the YouTube interface on OBS a lot nicer than having to deal with the Twitch UI and the YouTube UI and so very happy with that. Streaming on YouTube. Mentioned Age of Music's Ages music on Spotify, which you can get here. Ooh, bless me. Sorry, y'all. The coughing I'm trying to get down to a dull roar as well. I'm sucking down Ricola like they're candy. So got to get healthier before we fly on Tuesday, because air travel is a nightmare for sinuses, and I don't hate the Ricola, so it's pretty good. I used to eat these things like candy. It helps to have a decent amount of sugar in them, but yeah, anything to help keeping the coughing at bay is always helpful. So let me minimize that. So on my laptop, I actually have the Proxmox malware lab setup. There are no shortages of how-tos on places like Medium or setting up your virtualized malware environment using Proxmox, et cetera. So what they come up with is, depending on which one you go to, I want to say they all use pfSense for this. So you're going to need Proxmox knowledge and a Windows 10 ISO, Remnux built from scratch, which I've done, Flare VM, which I don't have downloaded yet, and networking. Okay, so this person uses the Unify ecosystem. No good there. Okay, so I went back. This was the one I looked at earlier, and it looks complicated. Yeah, I don't use OPNsense or pfSense or whatever in an environment, so this one didn't work for me. So let me see. Was it this one here? Yeah. So this was the one I came up with. They were like, here's your setup. If you've got pfSense running on the network, pfSense is going to be your gateway area here. It's going to, connect your other environments up in this. Remnux, yes. Flare VM, I don't have that. pfSense. How old is this? 2022. It's not awful. And so you're not allowing detonated malware to escape and have adverse effects on other systems, being able to capture all network and host-based indicators of the malware which is detonated, including a victim machine that mimics a target machine to ensure that the malware detonates, and any potential anti-analysis techniques are bypassed. If the malware is designed not to run in a virtual environment, this must be bypassed for effective analysis. Having the victim machine easily reproducible so that after detonation, a new clean victim can be used. These are basic requirements any malware analysis environment will need in order to be safe and effective. I've found the process of creating an analysis environment to be iterative. Whereas one learns more about malware and how to analyze it, one adds new and interesting components to their malware analysis. However, the fundamentals are all required and are a good starting point. So, they created their malware analysis inside a virtualized home lab for infrastructure. They use Proxmox for virtualization platform. A little background on that: it creates multiple virtual environments for multiple use cases. Managing Proxmox is one pool, one bridge, one network, one purpose, one environment from this Medium article. This basically means that each environment will have one pool of resources and one network. Its VMs will use that to connect via the same bridge to a pfSense firewall for easy management. The process of creating this, pools, bridges, and subnets can be found in my Virtualized All Things article. For now, I'll assume you have the following configurations. So they're using, this person is using one Proxmox instance only for all malware environment checking things. So in this case, I should delete all of my VMs on here, and everything is dedicated to malware analysis, which means one box. Worst comes to worst, you can yank the Ethernet cable out of the back, and then anything that might have infected the network is not going to come back to bite you in the ass. As you can see, I already have a couple of boxes running. I probably need to turn those off because they've been running for a while now. I can turn off Remnux as well. Wow. Okay. Well, something's been using a lot of memory here. Yep. There we go. Okay. So ideally, hopefully what I'll be able to do is just move these two VMs off into their own specific pile of something, and then if you know, worst comes to worst, then I will update it accordingly. Oh, if you have some light reading, you want some light reading, the DoD has posted up a short 400-page document on Zero Trust initiative, Zero Trust overlays. And the idea is, so the Zero Trust strategy includes a series of guiding principles and guardrails when making decisions regarding how best to implement strategy of Zero Trust. So if you are interested in that article, you can go there and pull that PDF down. Found that on LinkedIn today, or you can follow the QR code above and you'll be able to, you know, get that article. So I haven't read through all of it. It's probably, if anything, like most DoD white papers, this is what you can do, not what you should do. So you're gonna, I mean, obviously it's only 30 pages. It looks like it's only 30 pages, but there's a ton of content here, including appendices, which I think the appendices are the biggest bit, right? So yeah, so you've got a ton of, you've got what, no, you got at least, yeah. Appendix I. Okay, so you have 28 pages of Appendix I, 28 pages of Appendix H, 18 of G. So a lot of this is just, you know, tables and documents and controls that you can implement, or capability controls that you can implement to cover various things. So let me see, like implementation level, component level, non-tech, account management. So this would be like the checklist that you have to do to, I don't want to say go to the DoD standard, but it is a way of standardizing your Zero Trust initiative if you are wanting that. This is what is being suggested by the DoD and NIST and CISA for securing their own Zero Trust initiatives in the United States government. So you know, get ready to spend a couple $1 million to get it according to the DoD, but it'll give you an idea as to what things they're looking for, and if you're ever going to hook up your own Zero Trust initiative, some things you need to potentially look for as well. You know, your risk model is not the DoD's risk model. You might actually be less risk adverse than they are. So you can kind of see and go through and look at some of the tables and understand what all needs to be done. So threat alert rating 1, threat alert rating 3, etc. So, anywho. So yeah, see all of these blog posts that talk about setting up your Proxmox for malware analysis, all of them include a virtual router. And it kind of makes sense because with things like VirtualBox, I want to say probably the network stack was a bit more isolated. it had its own firewall, it had its own IP address naming scheme. So in a way, VirtualBox was its own pfSense in that case. So, there's, and again, every malware sandbox out there has a specific way they do, every person who is out there doing their own, malware analysis has their own way of setting things up. What works for me won't work for you. The bare minimum is that you need some way to isolate the machine that is blowing up malware on it. Just like the previous blog post we talked about, there needs to be some way to communicate to that, be able to blow that away and have a fresh build so that you can analyze other malware at some point in the future. And make sure that you're not infecting other legitimate assets on your system. So in some cases, having your own box of Proxmox that's running that is isolated from the network may be the best option. I mean, at some point it may be like, well, I'm just going to go get a laptop. I'm going to put Proxmox on it, and then I'll run that. And then every VM that's running on that box is kind of an island into itself. And then all I have to do is run a capture card here, and I can show everything that's going on inside the laptop, and it's completely isolated from the network. If I want to hook up to the internet, then I'll have to. My first thought was to go to a McDonald's and hook up the guest Wi-Fi there, but I don't want to do that either. But it'll be to isolate what necessary VMs need to be, isolated and shut down so that I can safely connect to like Remnux or Flare VM to download updates or to be able to move data across, for instance. So let me see what this one's all about. All right, so here's a link to some fine person in the Netherlands, according to the domain. Now I will pop that up for everybody real quick. So in this first blog, we'll focus on setting up the infrastructure for the lab before we dive into the intrusion detection and aggregated metrics and logs. Okay, so we've got a little bit of work to do here, apparently. This is from 2024, so it's within the last few months, which is great. All right, make an indexation of all the parts required for this setup. All right, a virtual host machine with Proxmox, done. A virtual router running pfSense. Okay, I don't have that. So after installing Proxmox and creating a new virtual machine, I use the download from URL button to download the latest pfSense image directly. Okay. Okay, so we have, what, 2.7? Let me double check. What's this person using? Visualization how-tos on the quite uneventful installation of pfSense on the machine. One thing to keep in mind is that we're creating a virtual separate network in Proxmox and configuring that network as the LAN in the router. After that, we can connect all the lab machines to the new virtual network and make sure they're separated from our primary physical network. Yes, 100%. Yes, very good. Very good. All right, so let's...
Hey, what's going on, guys? Brandon Lee with...
Okay. My bad, sorry.
We have a really awesome video to cover today. If you like networking, if you like security appliances...
Sorry, I was blowing my eardrums out. I hope it didn't blow yours out. So I'm going to turn mine down a little bit. The good thing is it's only 12 minutes, right?
And you like Proxmox, or you're working with Proxmox in your home lab, we're going to take a look at how to install and how to configure a pfSense installation running on top of a Proxmox VE server. So let's dive right in.
Okay. Ooh. Pretty nice. Pretty nice.
The first tasks that we need to take care of with our Proxmox host before we even begin the pfSense installation is to take a look at the network configuration for our Proxmox host. We are going to need a WAN address and a LAN address on the pfSense appliance. And this is not really specific to pfSense per se or Proxmox. any virtual router or firewall solution that you run on top of any hypervisor, in the most basic configuration, they will have a WAN side and a LAN side to the configuration. And that's pretty basic. That is what we are going to facilitate in our network configuration on our Proxmox host. As you can see, I have the default bridge that was created when I installed my Proxmox server, and I have a network range that is assigned to that default bridge. I am going to use that to attach my pfSense router/firewall for the WAN interface. For the LAN interface, I have created another network bridge in Proxmox that is
all right. I'm gonna see if I can split screen this mother. Might be quarter life crisis. Whoops. Okay. Unclick that. There we go. Now we will. Either way, I'm wondering sometimes about the outcome of a still verdictless life. Am I living it right? Okay. There we go. All right, and so under Proxmox or Proxmoxy, I don't have a BBR. Wait a minute, am I looking? Oh, I'm in the wrong place. All right, so we have Vimber 0, and then I will need to create a new one. Create a new Linux bridge, VMBR 1, and then we're gonna go, I think we're gonna do the 172.1.6 like he's got over there. So we'll just do 172.1.6. Yeah, 1.6. 254.24. All right. Sounds good. We'll use that.
attached to another network in my home lab environment that I am going to use to simulate a LAN network.
Okay, so active. CIDR, no gateway, no IPv6 looks like. No IPv6 gateway, no bridge ports. Okay, I don't have ENS 192. I'm wondering if that's a separate UI, a separate connection altogether. Pending changes, either reboot or apply configuration if IP up to okay. Apply configuration, yes. Okay. Let's see what we got over here. Okay, we don't have a port on there.
And this will make a little more sense as we install the pfSense appliance. To actually get started with the installation of pfSense on top of Proxmox, we need to get the installation media to a location where Proxmox can utilize that to actually perform the installation of pfSense. So I have already downloaded the pfSense installation ISO media. To actually get the media to our Proxmox server, I'm going to click on my ISO storage that I have created. I'm going to click on ISO images, and I'm going to click the upload button. And this brings up the upload dialog box. I'm going to click the select file, and then click the pfSense Community Edition 2.6.0 installation ISO.
All right, let me go grab that. Okay, so he pulled the ISO down. Of course, this makes complete sense, you know, trying to set up all this stuff, and then I'm going to be leaving for 2 weeks and then not be able to finish this. I don't need that. Okay, so it's almost done downloading. It is downloading. I see it as a CR over here on my screen here. Okay, Refresh. There it is. Air. Okay. All right, let me bump it up here. Right click, open terminal preview window. All right, and then tar, extract, no, gunzip. We'll just gunzip it. As you can see here, I'm gunzipping the ISO file. Guess I should have downloaded 272. That would probably have been an easier version. All right, so now I have an ISO to upload. The fun is always remembering where you put things when you're done with it. There it is. Nope. There it is. ISO images. Upload. Select file. There it is. 271. And upload. That's fast. There we go. All right, so I have pfSense in there. As you see, I have the other ones as well. I have Kali, I have Alpine, I have a Windows 10 ISO. Okay. Let's go back.
Clicking open, and we simply click the upload button. As you can see, we now have the pfSense 2.6.0 ISO image now uploaded to our ISOs repository. We are now ready to create the pfSense virtual machine in Proxmox. To do that, I'm going to click on my Proxmox host. I'm going to click the Create VM option, and here we actually create.
This really bothers me. I'm thinking I don't have a bridge port. Interesting. So what is it? Let me see. PV. What if I use a single Ethernet port on my PC for WAN and the 8? Yeah. Wish you'd showed the creation of the bridge. I'm having an issue on this part where pfSense tells me it doesn't exist after I create it. Yeah, see, don't draw the owl when you're doing something like this, or you're creating a tutorial. Don't draw the owl. Don't assume that everybody has done, oh well, I'm just going to start at step 5, because I assume everyone else has done steps 1 through 4. They haven't, just a thing there when I see this a lot with bug bounty stuff. It's like, oh yeah, I can get a critical issue on you, but oh yeah, you have to have an account. You have to be on, you have to be sitting in the bushes outside of somebody's house, this kind of thing. So it's like, don't draw the owl, right? Yeah. So this just may fail spectacularly for me, but we'll just continue on here. Just see what he says.
Shell of the pfSense installation. So let's step through these steps. On the Create Virtual Machine dialog box, we're going to select our node. I'm going to call this pfSense. On the operating system, I'm going to select the pfSense Community Edition ISO from the ISOs repository.
Okay. Alrighty. There we go. Proxmox create VM. Proxmox, we're going to call it name. We're going to call it, I don't know why the saved info is in there like that. That is me, my grandfather, my mother, and my wife. There you go. Name is pfSense. All right.
leaving the kernel selected for Linux. I'm going to leave the SCSI controller selected to VirtIO SCSI. On the disk screen, we're just going to leave the defaults here. On the CPU screen,
and we're going to use pfSense, kernel Linux. On the system, we're going to leave VirtIO sync correct. On the CPU,
I am just simply going to leave the sockets and cores set to 1. Memory is set to 2 gigs. By default, I'm leaving that. On the network screen, I am selecting the checkbox No Network Device. And the reason for that is we're going to, once the virtual machine is created, we will go back and we will add the network adapters as we want in our configuration. And we get...
Okay. That's good to know. No network device. And then...
to the confirmation screen. So if you need to make any changes at this point, you can go back and do that. However, once you have the virtual machine configured, you can click the finish button. As you recall, when we created the pfSense virtual machine, we left off adding a network adapter. So we're going to go back and we're going to now configure the network adapters, so two, to carry both the WAN and the LAN side traffic. Clicking on the virtual machine.
Okay. So clicking on that.
Clicking on the
hardware.
Notice the add button. So I'm going to click add and I'm going to add a network device. Now remember, we need the WAN side connection and we need the LAN side connection. So in my environment.
Okay. Under hardware, we're going to add the network device, and
the WAN side connection will be handled by the first network bridge that was selected by default. I, in my environment, am using this in a nested environment. So I am going to select the Intel E1000. And the reason I know that is because I've experimented, I've played around with this just a bit, so I know which adapter I need to choose. This will vary depending on if you're installing this inside a virtual machine, if you're installing it on a physical Proxmox host. I'm going to select E1000. I'm not using VLAN tagging for this lab environment. So I'm going to click add. I'm going to now go back and I'm going to also add a...
Oh good, I have... What the hell? How many network interfaces have I got? Shit. Okay, so this one is the wireless. This is VMware? I don't have VMware on here. I'm not sure why that's showing up. That is interesting. Okay. Sure, why not? And then we're going to go back in and add a network device, and we're going to call that
another network device. This time I'm selecting my VMBR1, so the second network bridge that I had created using the additional network adapter. This will carry the LAN side traffic for my pfSense installation. So I've got the E1000 selected. I'm going to click add. And just to review, as you can see, I have two network adapters, one meant for WAN side traffic, the other meant for LAN side traffic. That is how it's configured in my environment. Again, you will have to experiment for your use case. Now that we have the virtual machine created with the two network adapters configuration that we need for WAN and LAN, I have powered on the virtual machine in Proxmox, and I've opened a console connection to that virtual machine. First screen, we're just going to accept the EULA. We're going to hit enter to install pfSense. We're going to accept the default key map. We're going to use the automatic ZFS configuration. We're going to select the install proceed with installation option. Here, I'm simply going to select the stripe, no redundancy. Select the disk that we want to use. Okay, yes, we want to destroy the contents of the disk. And now the distribution begins fetching the installation files that it needs. The installation of pfSense is now finished. And you will see the question if you want to make any final manual modifications. And we're going to say no. And we're going to reboot the pfSense virtual machine. Once the virtual machine reboots, we will then continue the configuration. Once the pfSense virtual machine has rebooted, the appliance will boot into...
Okay. That was nice and fast. I don't know if it's actually going to be the same for me, but we'll see. There were some definite jump cuts in there, so I'm sure he's, cutting for brevity. Otherwise, it would have been, huge. All right, install pfSense. Root on ZFS. Proceed with install. Stripe, no redundancy. We're going to tab up. Yes. Is everyone doing okay since Tuesday? We're just letting things do its own thing. All right. My only concern is I don't have an IP address or a network interface for the VMBR1. So I may end up having to blow away my pfSense and run it again, but it appears to have been a fairly easy install. So we'll see what happens. There we go. All right. Okay. Looks good. Looks good. Uh-oh. Oh, okay, that worked. All right. There's nothing here. Go on. Go on. There we go. Configuring the firewall, done. Okay, boot up complete. Yes, excellent. Okay.
To this text-based configuration. What this will allow you to do is verify that the IP addresses and the interfaces are configured and attached to the segments of the network that are expected. In my case, the WAN connection is correctly pulling a DHCP address as expected from the IP range that I do expect as well. The LAN side, pfSense defaults to a 192.168.1.1/24, a Class C subnet. Here you will want to customize your LAN IP address configuration to match the network configuration on your LAN. So I'm going to select number 2, and we're going to set IP addresses. Select the LAN interface, enter the new
Okay,
LAN.
So 2.
And IPv4 address. So I'm going to put in the address that I want, and we're going to.
So we're going to go 2 and 2. And okay. Whoops. No. No. Yeah, no. And then 172.16.16.1. So far, so good.
Enter the subnet bit count, which is 24 for Class C, and I'm going to simply enter, and I'm going to say no on DHCP.
Okay. Enter. Oops. No. Do you want to enable DHCP server on LAN? No. Looks like there's a few extra questions that it's asking in my version than it is his version. Yeah.
Currently, just for the lab environment, and I don't want to revert to HTTP, say no. As you can see, the address has now been reconfigured for the LAN side. Now, as we review the configuration change, we still have an external DHCP address, and we have our customized internal LAN
Okay, so there we go.
IP address. In most configurations with pfSense, you will take a DHCP assigned address from your internet service provider. They will hand out.
So check out the activity on this dude's switch back here.
A lease of an IP address that you will want
what
your
the
LAN
hell is
to
he
be able
moving
to lease
at
from
that?
your ISP.
I mean,
once that happens, then NATing and other processes
that's
take
nuts.
place that allow the pfSense firewall to NAT traffic and protect your internal network that you now have configured for the LAN IP address and subnet that you want to configure. Now, from a computer that is on the LAN segment of the pfSense firewall, we can now browse out to the IP address configured in that text-based setup. As you can see, I am browsed out to 172.16.16.1, the IP address of the LAN interface of my pfSense firewall running inside of Proxmox. You're going to sign in with the default of admin and pfSense. Once logged,
I don't even know if I can hit that. 172.16.16.1. Yeah, I can't hit that. Okay, so wait, he said
that you now have configured for the LAN IP address and subnet that you want to configure. Now, from a computer that is on the LAN segment of the pfSense firewall, we can now browse out to the IP address configured in that text-based setup. As you can see, I am browsed out to 172.16.16.1, the IP address of the LAN interface of my pfSense firewall running inside of Proxmox. You're going to sign in with the default of admin and pfSense. Once logged.
So again, I have to have a host in the 172.16161 network range to be able to go into the pfSense. So let me see, hardware, network device. All right, now.
Then you're going to accept the EULA. This will begin the web-based configuration wizard. So it's going to step us through the process to fully configure our pfSense firewall. First, we're going to simply next on the initial screen. Next.
Holy crap. Okay, so he's already far beyond where I'm at right now because I can't even find a host that I can put on the pfSense network. So we know it's running. Technically, so 17, yeah, so now you can add, by opening, let's see, maybe I can just do HTTPS because it looks like HTTP isn't running. Nerp. Nope, can't get that. Okay, so now I understand the flickering LEDs. Although this got to be the first step-by-step, just subscribed. I do this. Thinking about virtualizing my pfSense setup. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, one pfSense and one Windows 10 system inside. All right, so I need to go in. What I probably need to do is okay, yeah. I mean, technically I shouldn't be networking this anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and create a network device. It's gonna be VRBO, okay. No. Well, let's see. Let's just go ahead and give this a real start. There's nothing on this. This is a fresh build of Windows 10 right now, so. There's no DHCP on VMBR1, but I will be able to, so I think I called this one User Lab. Network and internet settings, properties, IP address signings, manual on 172.16.16.2. Preferred DNS. All right, give that a shot. Can't save settings. One or more settings and try again. Why can't you save the IP settings? No, I don't want to sign into anything. Thank you very much. Okay, internet protocol properties. There we go. This is the system that I remember. Oh. Back in old timey days. .2. And then 172.16161. 172.16161. Yeah, sure, why not? I may regret that later, but we'll see. It says no internet access. Let me right click. Ping 172.16161. Hey, looky. Well, looky. HTTPS 172.1.6. Oh, well, looky. Hey. They don't give this to just idiots, you know. All right, so admin pfSense. Welcome to pfSense. All right. All right, so we're going to next. And
next on the global support directive from Netgate. Next, we're going to configure a host name. I'm going to set that to all lowercase. I'm going to set the domain to.
Okay, so automatically no. I need to ungroup. There we go. All right, so I've split the screen. I just did it again on a different size here. So there we go. Oh, one of the things you're going to learn with not PFSense, but with Proxmox as a whole is if you have the console in its own window, kind of like this, where I've split it off from the main, Proxmox, you cannot get any larger than this right here. If you try to resize the screen, like if I want to resize the screen, it'll just pop back to the original size and slowly make its way back to whatever the resolution, I think, of the desktop itself is. So if I made this a 1020 by 768, then it would be that. I think this is like the equivalent of 800 by 600 or something. Anyway, so I'm going to make this all lowercase just for simplicity's sake, like he suggested.
Cloud.local. I'm going to set a primary DNS server, and we're
okay, I would not set that as the primary DNS server, but that is what it is. I'm assuming primary DNS would be like 8.8.8.8 or 1111 if you wanted to go that route, like he's doing with the secondary server there. So I would call it, cloud.local. And then primary DNS, I'm gonna do 1.1.1.1 because I don't want to have to deal with that. And then 205.67.222.222. I think that's Open DNS. Let me double check that. Open DNS 205 IP. No, oh, did they change them? Okay, 208.67.222.123. Those sound new. So there we go. All right, sounds good to me.
We're going to click next. We're going to leave the NTP configured
hold on, homie.
as it's set from Netgate. Next, we're going to configure a local. I'm going to set a DNS server, and we're going to click next.
Next.
To leave the NTP configured as expected, and you can set your time zone if needed. And on the WAN interface, we now have another opportunity to configure the WAN side and the LAN side coming up as well. Here, I'm just going to just make note that you have all of the options if you need to configure PPOE or other specific DHCP configurations. On the LAN interface, again, we have the ability to configure that IP address differently here. We're going to set the admin password, and we're going to reload the
admin password. Okay. There we go. And click reload.
Configuration with the changes. So now reload is in progress of our PFSense firewall virtual machine, and it always only takes just a couple of seconds. We get the directive that PFSense is now fully configured. After you click finish, you will be taken to the main dashboard of the PFSense virtual machine. Again, we're going to be prompted with a EULA of sorts. We're going to accept that. We're going to click close on the thank you from Netgate. And now we have access to our PFSense dashboard. And as you guys have seen, and most likely you've loaded PFSense before, we've got directives for system, interfaces, firewall.
I've used PFSense, but it was a long time ago, and I was on bare metal. I had like a COTOM, or it was like had one of these a little while ago that you could use to, a little 5-port thing. Didn't even have the wireless in it. It was just, straight up yeah, I think that was that, but I think I got it off of Amazon. I didn't get it from AliExpress or Alibaba or whoever. So, yeah, I used this one for a long time, and then I was like, I'm tired of maintaining a lab environment at home or a PFSense box, so I'm just gonna get rid of it and get a Netcure Orbi. So, I can upgrade if I want to. Let me see. It might, I don't know if he gives you the option.
VPN status. So all of these modules allow for specific configuration now that you have the virtual machine up and running. pfSense is a fantastic open source firewall, and Proxmox is a fantastic open source hypervisor. When you combine the two, it is an excellent combination of open source software that you can run inside the home lab, providing firewalling services, natting services, ingress capabilities, and the overall protection that you get from a enterprise firewall such as pfSense. Proxmox makes this process to spin up a virtual machine extremely easy, as shown. One of the main considerations that you make is simply
grab the
making
URL
sure
from
the
here
networking is correct on the Proxmox server, so that
Windows,
you can
Windows
attach
business.
that pfSense virtual machine to the appropriate networks for both.
Speaking of the devil, we have our music people from Spotify here. So there we go.
Please do like the video,
grab
subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts on pfSense, on Proxmox. What configurations are you running inside of your home lab? Take care, guys. Stay safe. Keep the coffee hot, and I will see you guys soon.
I like his backgrounds. He's got some nice music. I don't hate on that. Yeah, so you can, let's go.
Hey, what's up,
virtualization
guys?
how to. Brandon Lee, okay. Oh, he's setting up a Docker setup. Portainer Swarm. Okay. If Docker could run in Proxmox without needing an Alpine VM to run Docker on, that would be great. But it's like Inception level shit, right? It's like bare metal hypervisor to run a VM to run Docker on a VM, and it's like, nah. So, I mean, you can always get another box and just run Docker on it on like an Ubuntu box. It's probably the same thing, but yeah. Password 123. Close. Very close there, Windows Business. There we go. Okay, so I've updated to the latest version of this, and remembering my password, which is ding. So I'm updated to the latest version, 2.7.2 release. Updating status is happening, etc., etc., etc. Okay. I used to get my tech tutorials from videos with bad mics and dubstep blaring over instructions poorly and typed slowly into Notepad. Yeah, I followed a couple of tutorials one time. Yeah, where it was very much like you said. It was a Notepad, and nobody wanted to talk, so they're like, oh, I'm going to do it this way. It's surprisingly effective. I didn't hate that because it almost was like the person had to pace themselves, and they had to have everything already prepped, if you will. Yeah, so yeah, there's some out there that are, I mean, it's hard to make content that is like good tutorials, right? My critique of that one would have been just like somebody else who commented, hey, the bridge isn't working or something like that, and now there's no way to help that person or whatever. So, but looks like I've got Windows 10 running inside of my VM, which is great, or inside my Proxmox, which is great, for Proxmoxy, which is fantastic. I might actually do the same thing with Remnux because I'm going to have to put that in there as well. So let me go into the hardware here, remove this. I'm going to remove that UI because I already have a network device. It's going to be on Vimber or Vimber. And there you go. So now I've got a, hardware. Let me go into the console here, start now. Okay, booting from hard disk. Yes, yes, yes. Unregistered hypercam. All right, there we go. All right, so ping google.com. Dang it. Oh, you know why. Okay, so wired connecting ENS 18, wired settings. I need to give it an IP address. Remove connection profile. Okay, and then IPv4 manual, IP address 172.168.163. Network 255.255.255.0. Gateway 172.16161. Alrighty, and then apply. All right, so it should give me a nice, little bit here once I get started. I don't know why it's doing this. This is interesting, but oh, you know what? Did I give it DNS? I didn't give it DNS. Let me see. Oh, it's wires connected, so that's good. Wired settings. Go back in here, and then DNS. Yeah, I didn't add DNS. So 1.1.1.1. Technically, I should do 172.16161, and then 1.1.1.1, just for shiggles. There we go. We'll add that. Close that up. Got a little question mark there. Ping 172.16161. Okay, so we have ping works. Ping works and networking connectivity works. The name resolution may be the thing, right? Yep. And you know what? I'm almost thinking that maybe perhaps we will want to change it so that we're not using. I'm okay with not using local DNS. I have no problem with that. Now, there may be a problem later on, which is probably why I would want to continue using it in that way, but right now it's didn't see that. All right. 1.1.1.1. Let me make sure that's not the problem. So we'll close that. Okay, still have that connectivity. Okay, so DNS is working now. Run updates real quick. Okay, so we've got network connectivity over the network. Okay, gonna break out that Hendrix strat. Ooh, proxy lady. Yeah, exactly. Well, the good thing is I managed to not screw things up completely. The pfSense box is running. The Windows 10 is running under 10. Okay, so you see the network icon is working now in my thing there, and updates are running. Now the problem is now I have I can. Oops. This would be a no-no. I don't want to be able to ping google.com on this thing. So yeah, see, I'm running into network segment issues. Ideally, hopefully the tutorials that we use later on will show how to isolate the Windows box from that. So the installer would like to add Microsoft repository and key signing to update VS Code. Yes, please. Yeah, because I installed VS Code on that box just for note taking, etc. Hey, Window Business, what are you doing for the next couple weeks? You got things starting to probably slow down at work with everybody going on holiday, right? So, what are you doing for the holidays? Are you taking some time off? I hope you're able to, work on. Everyone has, it's been a long winter, and winter technically hasn't even started yet. But always take time for yourselves. You know what I mean? So. All right. All right. So we followed the how-to here on how to set up your.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Brandon Lee Well, I like his lower third. His lower third is really nice. That's not a. I don't know if that's a stock one, but it's a nice one to use. You know, you get that, and it's gonna.
You guys are doing
There he goes.
fantastic. And
Nice. Simple but effective. All of his visualizations, his stinger, his lower third there to show his name and stuff like that. All great stuff. Really good quality. His camera's nice.
And we have a really awesome video to cover today.
Audio sounds very similar to mine. So got the rug pulled out super hard. My 10-week engagement was only funded for 3 weeks. Seriously? Oh, the assholes. Super unpleased with your recruiter. Yeah, I would say. Well, not saying, you know, your recruiter isn't a piece of shit, but, you know, maybe they were blindsided as well, you know. I want to say I want to give people benefit of the doubt, but it's, you know, it really sucks that you're out, 7 weeks of pay. That sucks. So I'm hoping that it will pick up in the next few weeks, their window of business, and that you can, you know, pay some bills. Okay. pfSense is done. All right. So let me see. After installing Proxmox, creating a new virtual machine, download, pfSense box, followed visualization, how-to's YouTube channel on the quite uneventful installation, right? Setting up the attacker machine. After setting up the interfaces, we need to access pfSense GUI. All right, done that. Classic intrusion detection. Whoa. Okay. Yeah. Now we set up Snort. We're just gonna set up Snort. Dear God. Yeah, that's. I mean, yeah. You know, one of the things, just to be real here for a minute. I've started on Tuesday. I mentioned I started my job search, and to be fair, I am getting the Christmas that I want. I'm going on vacation Tuesday, and my laptop for work is going, to stay here accidentally on purpose. My manager was like, "Yeah, don't do that." I'm also getting a new manager on Monday, like the 5th time in a year and a half. Because of reorgs or reimagining of strategy or what have you. There's a number of different reasons. A lot of it is political. Obviously, the return to office stuff is contentious. Upside is we're going to be going to New York City in January for another on-site, which we were there in August, September timeframe. So I'm excited about going back, and I know the guy that I'm working with, my new boss. We've had good interaction before, and so yeah, it somewhat is a rearranging of deck chairs, whether or not I'm on the Titanic or the Lusitania or, you know, Miracle of the Seas or whatever the cruise ship is. You know, I would argue that some of the newer cruise ships are mostly unsinkable, mostly. I mean, guided missile will still, bring them down, but we're going to see what happens. You know, I've made questions and concerns about the fact that we're now on our 5th boss and 5th management tier in the last year, and so, and they're not my boss, but my skip, who we've had for like 3 months, is also aware of that. And he feels like, yeah, your team has kind of gotten the short end of the stick there. Because there's people that are like, oh yeah, reorgs happen a lot. Not in this frequency. And so, it's been like, a year, 6 months, and then 3 months, and then now 2 months. And yeah, so we'll see how long this one lasts. Anyway, so going back, yeah, it sucks because I told, he's like, oh, I'm starting Monday. And I was like, yeah, Tuesday I'm on vacation. He's like, oh, well, we need to have a one-on-one immediately. And I was like, okay. So we had our one-on-one yesterday. I told him I would have some time for him. I did make the rare kind of concession. I was like, we do have our signal for out-of-bound comms. I was like, if you need to get a hold of me for some kind of clarification while I'm on vacation, I'm going to allow it. And he said, well, I appreciate that. I'll try not to bother you. Worst comes to worst, it'll be like, oh, I'm on the cruise ship and we didn't have phone And then, you know, I wouldn't see it until we were in port. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Oh, okay. All right, so this person suggested Metasploitable 2. That's interesting. Setting up a vulnerable host. Metasploitable 2, which is Linux-based, I thought. Yeah, it's with a multitude of services installed that are vulnerable. Yeah, I'm definitely going to get to recharge, but I'm also... he doesn't follow me on LinkedIn, so he doesn't actually know that I'm actively looking for a new job. I have an interview on Monday with a director of product security position. So I do have interviews that are happening, and my network, surprisingly, is coming out in full force, and I'm surprised at the effectiveness, but I don't have a job yet, so we'll see how well my network is at that point. So, all right. But I appreciate that, and I hope you get to recharge a little bit too. I know a lot of folks are not in the same position I am, where I'm actually looking for a job and I'm still employed, which I feel bad, kind of a little guilty there. So, oh, cool, window business. Yeah, there's no shortage of like product manager type positions out there, so that's a good thing. There are people hiring. It's just I think. Well, we'll see, because I've got a couple of friends who have just gotten hired too, and I'm reaching out to them to ask them what they did or didn't do there, and you know, it may come down to just, you know, people don't have a good network, or there's nothing that sets them apart from other folks, or what have you. So that's why I'm reaching out to this guy. He's and one of the things that I've realized is that some of the groups that I enjoy hanging out with or going with, like the local DEF CON group, they're not going to help me find a job. And I appreciate them, and I think that they're great people, but a lot of them are not at the level that I want to be at. Some of them are either with my current level or slightly below, or they don't have the network that I need to get in there. So I have to diversify. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at. Okay, going back, setting up target machine, we need to install Flare VM, an excellent installation package that turns a clean Windows machine into an all-around malware analysis lab with all sorts of tools and applications to analyze. Okay. Split that off. Okay. All right, so this is the Windows 10 for malware. Okay. Thank you, Windows business. I appreciate you. Vast skill set. I know how to screw things up, and you know, I'm uncomfortable in front of the camera because, you know, when things go wrong, and they do, then I'm like, oh crap. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, all right. So we have Remnux. It's running. I'm gonna go ahead and pause it. Shut it down. And I don't want to set up Snort. I really don't. Snort is a big pile of fail. Oh, Snort can be conveniently installed as a service in pfSense. Oh, I did not know that. That is good to know. I was unaware of this. Excellent. I will go in here and enjoy this Slack, or enjoy the Windows. All right, let me see. How do I do that? Getting started documentation. Read the original docs. Is there a plugin? What is it? How do we do this? Oh, we will enjoy the Snort. Welcome to the Snort. Setup wizard routing package manager. There are no packages available. Please wait. Okay. Snort. Hey. They're too busy singing, put anybody down. Okay, so that was, yeah, system, package manager, snort, okay. Navigate to the snorts, setting up snort for the first time. Now, to be fair, I only have 2 gigs of RAM, so all right, window business, have a good time. Have a good day. Take care. And yeah, we'll see you. If I don't see you before I go on vacation, I'll see you after the holiday or see you on this Discord. Take care now. Take care then. Bye-bye now. All right, so what do we got here? Cleaning up success. Installed packages. The one thing I do like about pfSense is there's a ton of stuff in here that you can use for like analyzing, not just with Snort, which is your IDS, IPS stuff, but there are a ton of packages that you can use. So you've got, certificate management environments, you've got UPS modules, which I've never actually seen anybody use that, but my experience with pfSense in an enterprise environment is somewhat limited. Monitoring Ethernet activity, I mean, there's a ton of stuff. Network monitoring here for service discovery and MDNS. Bind, if you like pain, you can use bind version for DNS. I don't want to tell you not to use DNS bind, but don't fucking use DNS bind. Just use whatever's available out in the real world, because it's just god awful. Used to be like every week there was a new bind vulnerability that came out. Radius protocol, okay. So anyway, there's a ton of stuff, including high availability proxies, performance for network throughput. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff. Okay, close this out. All right, so Snort is installed. Set up the rules on which Snort will trigger alerts. Oh, wait a minute. So Snort config, setting up Snort for the first time. Okay, yeah, let's go set up Snort. Services, El Snorterino. Okay, where is, what the? Oh, my bad, okay. There it is. All right, so, okay, so global settings. Snort VRT, enable download of Snort VRT free registered user or paid subscriber rules. Yeah, see, I don't have a free code for that. Enable download of emerging threats open rules. Okay. Once the desired rules are updated, okay, so I'm gonna have to go in to, okay. Do I want one of those? Okay. 1 second, I have to. Random questions. Is there malware made to target paranoid people using VMs that can go past them? Depends on how paranoid you are. If you're paranoid, then yes, the answer is always yes, right? I'm not sure what you mean by is there malware made to target paranoid people using VMs that can go past them. Past them is them what? Who's them? Is to using VMs that can go past other VMs or other paranoid people? Your use of the pronoun there is interesting. So I would love some clarification there. Virtual machines that go past virtual machines into a host machine. So virtual machine that will go past virtual machines into the, okay. So what you're wondering is, am I going to install a VM that will bypass the pfSense traffic and then infect the Proxmox server that I've got? Sure, why not? I mean, it really it depends on the malware that I'm going to download. It's not like I'm going to, expose my VMs to the internet and hope that somebody infects them. There's going to be malware that you can install, and you can go to like Malware Bazaar. Yes, I know, I'm not sharing my screen. Double. So you can go to someplace like Malware Bazaar. Well, there you go. And go look and look at different malware samples that exist, right? Is there a virus or a malware that can target virtual machines specifically that's made to go past virtual machines into host machines? I don't know. I would say potentially. I know that there is malware that if it detects if it's running in a VM, it might react differently. If you have misconfigured the connection between the VM and your host machine, your bare metal in this case, to do things like allow for bidirectional sharing of your keyboard, not keyboard, but your clipboard, there is ways of. And I have seen talks at conferences where there are like multiple data channel layers between the VMs in like virtual VMware and the host that will communicate back and forth between them. So some malware is smart enough to make that happen. Now, if you're such an unlucky person as to have that kind of malware, let me see, malware breaks out of virtual machines into host. So I mean, there are VMware escapes that can exist, especially if the malware is smart enough. Yeah, see, can viruses in the VM make it to your main computer? Somebody had asked the question, but it got deleted 3 years ago in VMware. Short answer is yes. Your host could be infected in the same way that any malicious device running on your local network could be. Malware running in your VM could probe for open ports on network devices and try to take advantage of any remote code execution. I think sometimes this will be a misconfiguration in how your malware-infected VM is communicating with other things. We've done other videos where I have set up a VirtualBox instance, and I've set up 2 VMs that can only talk to one another under the right conditions. The Windows box in this case is completely isolated from the rest of the network and can only speak to this box. And then using Remnux and iNetSim, it emulates the internet for the Windows box and the malware that's running on the box to do things like DNS lookups. Remnux responds and says, yes, I'm everything on the internet to you. And then you can use iNetSim or some kind of internet generator kind of thing to guess what's going on, or to assume whatever calls the malware on your virtual machine makes is legit. The iNetSim will make it appear that it is legit traffic coming to and from things. But yeah, so I'm late to the party. How can I prevent that? I'm supposing there's some options to deactivate. Y'all tech guys are the future for real. It's really hard for me to grasp this nerdy stuff. 58, and a lot of this stuff goes over my head. I'm not young, but I appreciate the kind words. And a lot of this stuff goes over my head. It can't go through the net. Yes, basically, yes, it can go through the network if your VMs are not set up correctly. There are numerous ways of setting this up. I think we were actually going through a way of doing it here, but if you don't want to set up Proxmox, and let's say you just have a computer, we did go through Jeff of All Trades' stuff. Jeff of All Trades, that's not it. That is a 0, not an O. So if you're interested in some of the stuff that he's working on, you can start with, this video right here, which we did.
Simple and yeah.
Okay. This is the video he did at like 3 in the morning. But if you have VirtualBox and you can download an ISO and you can download so he downloads Remnux and he downloads Windows 10, which you can download. He walks you through exactly how to set up everything, including VirtualBox. The reason I didn't want to use VirtualBox, and I actually still have, you're a rat bastard. I still have my lab from Jeff of All Trades stuff with Remnux and New Pollution, so I still have all of those that are available. If I wanted to start running and analyzing malware right now, those are available for me to play with on my local box here. And you can do the same thing. I would just say watch his video through a couple times. He'll go through setting up the Windows box to install all the software that needs to be installed on that, and then you'll go through and you'll make snapshots of your stuff, and where you're located and your Remnux box. So Joyful, if you wanted to play around with this, it's a safe, somewhat, I don't want to say somewhat, it is as safe as that can be, and he knows what he's talking about there. So it's just, you definitely want to watch the whole thing through, because I believe there's a couple of things at the end where he said, when I did this at 4 in the morning, I forgot about this or whatever. Go grab that. Jeff's a good dude. He joined us a couple times on our Twitch stream when we were doing those. Watching me, watching him, watching, he was watching me, watching him do the video demo stuff. But yeah, so I mean, it worked out. I was, editing, getting malware, finding malware, finding alerts that were coming through. So where was that? That was 2 months ago. Let me see. Yeah, malware lab. Here we go. So I was going through some of that myself here. So you can follow that. Yeah, so we're following on Jeff videos, walking through XWorm and other types of malware. So yeah, I went through this a couple times. But yeah, there's a ton of stuff here that I went through. Yeah, messed up the sandbox, malware lab is set up. Yeah, so I've got a bunch of stuff in here, but anyway. Oh, wow. Okay. We've been on for a little bit. This is where I feel like I need to turn into a pumpkin, but maybe I'll give it another few minutes. All right, got that set up. All right, so set up a target machine. Complement our Linux environments. We'll add a new VM, load a Windows 10 installation, install Flare VM. Okay. So let me see, where's my... I don't want to set all that up just now, so we'll deal with that later. I can set up the snort and stuff at any time. That's the important thing. All right, so let me see. Go into, close this, shut this down, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone that, and then I will set up Flare VM to run on the network as well. Okay, there we go. And then let me see, we're at snapshots. There we go. So yeah, now, Let me see. Is there a clone? Clone. Send in the clones. And then we'll call it Flare VM. Sorry, there are numerous ways that you can go in and set up all I did was I just set up Windows 10. That's a fresh install of Windows 10. I just called it Windows Malware. So there's you can go to Windows 10 ISO creation. Yeah, and just download your disk image there. Or if you need to, you can find it on torrent. That's just what it is. You can also create Windows 10 installation media. You can grab that if you want and get your Windows 10 box. You don't have to have a product key for that, which is important. It will nag you about not having a product key, and there's some things you can't do when it's hamstrung without having a full version of Windows 10, but it's very minor in this case. All right, so pool. Okay, target ZFS pool. Wait a minute. Wow, my ZFS pool is smaller than my actual LVM, but I'm going to put it in my ZFS pool. So, all right. There we go. And then console, start now. Oh, Jesus. Okay, wait. Okay. Jesus. That's not a lot. Okay, so 512 meg is not going to be good enough for that. So 4096. Oh, it wasn't finished. It wasn't finished completely cloning yet. So my bad. Okay, start. There we go. Oh, wait. There we go. Oh, wait a minute. What's? Oh, maybe I just typed it wrong the first time. I said user lab and user lab was a password. Oh, there it goes. All right. Continue. I don't want to create an account. No, thank you. Skip for now. There we go. And network and troubleshooting. Properties. So yeah, see, the IP address is still the same, so I would have to change that. But yeah, let me edit that. I'm gonna make this 4. Preferred DNS, alternate DNS, 1.1.1.1. Maybe that's why it wouldn't fail. Nope. Okay, that worked. All right. And then I will need to change the host name. System. There we go. Oh, wait. No. Oh, create snap. All right, so rename the PC. We'll call it Flare VM. There we go. Next. Restart now. Okay. There we go. All right. So, I mean, this is just a bare minimum Windows 10 version. I haven't even hardened it. I haven't turned off Windows Defender. I haven't done all of that stuff. Ideally, the Flare VM will do some of that. But Jeff of All Trades, if you go into Jeff of All Trades video, which I just posted up, as you know, nope, that's not it. Wrong one. Here we go.
Very simple. And yeah.
So if you see, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. So here's the QR code for that, by the way, just in case. But it will go through and he shows you where you need to turn off all the stuff in Windows 10 and make that happen. I feel like I probably need to come back on Monday. I will definitely give that a shot. I'm really hungry and I want to go get something for Din Din. But yeah, and as you can see, my little, the green is, the green of this area is just kind of messing things up, but yeah, so we're getting there. We're progressing. Our Proxmox is getting set up. Our Flare VM is getting set up. There's a lot of good links to how to set things up in the lab. I think the one thing I want to do is I want to be consistent. PFSense, of course, is going to be important because you need that network connection segregation that you're not going to get if you don't use something like, you know, a PFSense box to do that. Also, the PFSense will kind of be like, I don't want to say a host in the middle. Well, actually, I do want to say that's kind of a host in the middle to analyze traffic. If you're going to capture traffic, you know, there's going to be tools that you can put on your Flare VM that will monitor traffic, on your Remnux that will monitor traffic, on the Windows box itself that's going to run the malware to monitor traffic. As we've seen with Jeff of All Trades stuff, there's going to be some stuff we're going to install there as well. But yeah, so, you know, ideally you want to be able to see what the malware is doing, right? So there's going to be, you know, tools on all of the things that you're going to use that will help you. So just to reiterate, I will add that back here. That's the blog that I was using, and we'll go back into the small browser and I will pop the QR code so people can, you know, go grab that that URL if you want to. And yeah, I'm gonna go get some dinner. I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna definitely try to be back on Monday. I'm going to do some solo RP stuff this weekend as well. So, but hope everyone has a good weekend. I know we're winding down here to the end of the year, and yeah, hope everyone has a good weekend and takes care of themselves. And I'm Brian. So this has been my meanderings for the last 90 minutes. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, hit us up on Discord. You can hit us up discord.gg/breaksec. So you can follow us there, copy, and if you go to breaksec or discord.gg/breaksec, you can join the invite, which is right there. And oh wait, you can join the invite, which is right there. And you can join our Discord community, and ask questions, comments, concerns. Okay? All right. Well, I'm going to go. Thanks, y'all, for coming and hanging out with me. And we'll talk again very soon. Okay? Bye, y'all.